Charlie is severely autistic, and it is a massive, massive spectrum. And it was one that I didn't really realise existed before, you know, I had Charlie. And if you told me that I was going to have a son who was, when he was nearly 10 years old, still couldn't talk, I would have been really, really surprised. Because, you know, that I didn't associate that with autism. I knew it was something, you know, it was a communication disorder, and that, you know, when I'd seen autistic children or even autistic adults speak, there was definitely a manner in which they were speaking that was different, and that they didn't do conversations very well, and they may not say much, or they may repeat what you're saying, or just, you know, talk about things that interested them. But to not actually speak a word is definitely not something that you would ever expect, and it's something that's really difficult to come to terms with. I've actually had a woman tell me that I shouldn't take my child out in public, and, you know, that's really difficult in those kind of situations. And, you know, you may have a hard skin at the time, but you still come home and cry because, you know, and it's just the way some people look at you. They don't have to say anything, but you kind of catch people's eyes when you're sitting there having a picnic or something. I think with autism, there's lots of different attitudes to it. It's getting better because people are understanding more, but actually in many ways it would be useful if people just threw away every idea that they had about autism or their preconceived ideas, and just, you know, took each child as they come, because they are all so different. And you may have expectations, actually they're probably quite likely not to match. So, you know, people are often very kind, and, you know, and then they get chatting and they tell me that my son's bound to have some extreme talent that I still haven't discovered yet. And they're saying it out of the goodness of their hearts. Actually, you know, they've just got Rain Man in their heads, and my son isn't Rain Man. But when, you know, people are really lovely to him, he warms to them instantly. And, you know, like with his new teachers or whatever, it can go from just getting to know them, and then, you know, a week later when he goes into school, he goes straight in and wants to sit on their lap and he gives them a big hug. And that's because he's showing them that he really likes them, and that's the way that he shows it. You know, he can give all of that love and all of that affection to people, which is great, really. And I get a lot of that, so I feel really, really privileged. There's no hiding behind anything with Charlie. He will, you know, he'll come and hug me and sometimes kind of kiss me as well, and, you know, that's just really, really lovely. The future is the scariest thing, really, and it's something that we try not to think about too much, because actually nobody knows how children like Charlie will develop. Everybody will have their theories. The, you know, professionals and doctors and everything will usually give you the worst case scenario. But you don't actually know. You don't actually know how it will turn out, and that's probably the best way to be, is just do what you can. You know, you don't know what's going to happen, so you might as well, you know, just live in the moment that you're in, and be very thankful for all the good things that happen on a day-to-day basis.